video is brought to you by Against the Flow of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is a book about Jake Fayard, a Marine veteran who is unhappy with the political machine running the state of Mississippi. He decides to fight the corruption from the inside. Jake will face more challenges than he ever has and will stand up for what he thinks is right. His notoriously hot temper will push him to the edge of murder, along with his friend and brother Kobe Barhanovich. Together, they will fight the system and give the power back to the citizens of Mississippi.
Against the Flow of Mississippi was written by Anthony Oxenholt and was published by Oxenholt Biloxi Publishing, LLC. A link to the book will be placed in the description below.
Yeah, this a revolution in our time. Everybody's fighting, change coming, yes. That's why it's an acronym for riot. Everybody has a voice. Don't you dare stay silent. If you say nothing, you are an accessory to violence.
They've had their say. Seems like they've had that kind of say around here for too long. Look, I had to stand up for myself alone. I went in there to remind them that somewhere in this world there's still a little order left. To let them know in the only kind of terms that their kind understand is that they can't bribe or threaten their way out of what they did. To let them do this to me and get away with it, and you give them the eternal right to do the same damn thing to any one of you.
All right, y'all, good morning. Access 228, your host, Anthony Oxenholt. And I wanted to jump right into this. A couple of days ago, I received this in my email. Thank you to the Mississippi Law Enforcement Training Academy for providing me with this. This is the curriculum for the 480-hour course. Scares me, by the way. 480-hour course to be a cop in the state of Mississippi. And I'm also going to provide pictures of the documents as well. But let's go over this. It's going to be 3 pages of it. Full-time law enforcement basic training curriculum. Orientation. Part 1 is orientation. Orientation to basic training, 5 hours. Part 2, introduction to law enforcement. And it's history and principles of law enforcement. That's a 2-hour class. The criminal justice system, a 2-hour class. Not sure how I feel about that. Police ethics and moral issues is a 4-hour class. Seems to me there should be a little bit more for ethics, but at least it's there. Police power, authority, and discretion is 2 hours. Police and the public is 2 hours. Stress management is 4 hours. And civil liability is 4 hours. These are all low liability courses, it looks like. Part 3 is Mississippi Vehicle Law and Enforcement. Traffic crash investigation, 16 hours. Okay, I can see that. Mississippi Motor Vehicle Law Enforcement, 16 hours. I can see that. A lot of you cops are going to do a lot of traffic. I mean, the most common way cops are going to encounter a civilian is probably pull them over on the road. Traffic direction and control, 4 hours. Hazardous materials, 5 hours. Not quite sure how I feel about that. DUI law, detection and field sobriety, 16 hours. All right, and part 4, we start getting into the high liability here. This has me baffled. Physical fitness is 36 hours. Now, physical fitness is important to being a police officer. I will grant you that all day. You do need, it is a physically demanding job. Officer safety, mechanics of arrest, restraint, and control is a 40-hour class. I can see that. But when we drop down here to use of force, it's a 16-hour class. I have a big problem with that. If you've seen my videos, y'all know how I feel about use of force. That's the one that'll get you sued. And use of force could be anything from redirecting somebody to deadly force shooting them. Why is this only a 16-hour course? I can tell you from when I was with the Florida Department of Corrections and I went through their academy, defensive tactics, which included use of force, was an 80-hour course. All right, part 5. We're on page 2 now. Human relations. Human behavior, interpersonal communication, IPC skills. 4 hours. Law enforcement and citizens with special needs. 4 hours. That's pathetic. Older adult dementia, elder abuse, and silver alert, 4 hours. And conflict management is 4 hours. All right, now we go into another high liability, part 6. Firearms training. This scares me. 52 hours. Ours was 80, and that was with the Department of Corrections. I didn't carry a gun every day. I was a CO. 52 hours for firearms trainings? I don't like that. I know here in Mississippi we all grew up with guns, most of us, but still, 52 hours, that's scary. Investigative practices, crime scene processing, 12 hours. Not sure I agree with that. Fingerprinting is 2 hours and photography is 2 hours. Here's another high liability. Emergency vehicle operations, emergency vehicle driver training. 36 hours. I believe in Florida, vehicle operations is a 80-hour course. It's a high liability. Part 9, organized crimes, drugs, identification and handling drugs is 8 hours. Organized crime is 2 hours. Part 10, criminal law procedures. Constitutional law, search and seizure, and laws of arrest, 12 hours. Mississippi criminal law, 16 hours. Mississippi juvenile law, dealing with juveniles, 8 hours. Courtroom procedures, rules of evidence, 4 hours, and courtroom testimony, demeanor, and mock trial is 4 hours. I think constitutional law should probably be a little bit more than 12 hours, just my opinion. Now we're on the third page here. Part 11, criminal investigation. Principles of criminal investigation, 16 hours. Interview techniques and skills, 8 hours. Motor vehicle thefts, 2 hours. And domestic violence response, 20 hours. Kind of glad to see that. Report writing is part 12. Report writing, note taking, and case preparation, 16 hours. Hell, in corrections, report writing was a 40-hour class in Florida. 13, patrol operations. Patrol concept, preparation, technique, calls for service, crimes in progress, 20 hours. Active shooters, 16. Handling animals, 2 hours. Civil complaints and service calls, 2 hours. Gang enforcement, 4 hours. Extremist hate groups, 2 hours. Shouldn't those be kind of together? And bias-based profiling, 4 hours. I'm confused. Gang enforcement and extremist hate group. I want to get on this for a minute because in prison we called gangs, we called them STGs, or security threat groups. I am well versed in STGs. I don't know them all, but I've dealt with Simon City Rolls. I've dealt with Latin Kings. I've dealt with heartless felons. I've dealt with Bloods, Crips, Unforgiven, Dirty White Boys, Aryan Brotherhood, Aryan Nation. I've dealt with just about every STG that, here in the South and, my brief time in Ohio. I think there should be a little bit more time on that because some of those assholes are just scary. All right. Bias-based profiling, 4 hours. Part 14, Homeland Security. Introduction to Homeland Security, introduction to human trafficking, and introduction to ICS. 2 hours. Now, I'm confused here. I'm ICS 100, 200, 700, and 800. I did the self-study courses on the NIMS websites for FEMA. Did that years ago. Ain't no way you teaching somebody ICS in 2 hours. And then you're wrapping up human trafficking and Homeland Security into it as well. There ain't no way. There's no way you're going to be anywhere near proficient. And part 15 is administrative. It's 18 hours for a total of 480 hours. That's pathetic. I've said it before that cops in Mississippi are not well trained. And it's not the fault of the cop. Partially it is. A police officer, even a correctional officer, should always strive to learn as much as they can. Y'all, something's got to stop here. We need to do better. Y'all have a good one.